Hello and welcome back to another Magic the Gathering EDH deck tech idea. Today we are taking a look at Hearthhull, the Worldseed. But before we jump into today's video, I want to make a shout out for Mythatom. Check out their high quality Magic the Gathering and other fantasy products via the link in the notes below and use my discount code LATSEL for 10% off your order. It is a 4-mana legendary artifact which you can station during your turn at sorcery speed. You add charge counters equal to the power of the tapped creature that you use to station it. If it has 2 or more charge counters on it, it has an activated ability. For 1 mana, tapping it and sacrificing a land, you draw 2 cards and you may play an additional land during this turn. If it has 8 or more charge countered, it has flying, vigilance, haste, and whenever you sacrifice a land, each opponent loses 2 life, and it also is a 6/7. We will use Hearthhull's activated ability to draw a bunch of cards and play additional lands during our turn, and use also other synergistic pieces to not fall behind by sacrificing our own lands. Then as soon as it has 8 or plus charge counters on it, we will also use its triggered ability to drain our opponents down. In the early game we will want to ramp, which is why we play cards like Exploration, a 1 mana green enchantment, and you may play an additional land on each of your turns. Also in the early and also in the late game we can use Harrow, a 3 mana instant that has an additional cost to cast a spell, you sacrifice a land. If you do so, search a library for up to 2 basic land cards, put them onto the battlefield and then shuffle. We also play the worse version of Harrow, Roiling Regrowth, a 3 mana instant, and if it resolves, you sacrifice a land and search a library for up to 2 basic land cards, put them onto the battlefield tapped and then shuffle. A perfect turn 1 play is Wildgrowth, a 1 mana enchantment. An enchanted land gains whenever enchanted land is tapped for mana, its controller adds an additional green mana. We will also use Explore, a 2 mana sorcery. You may play an additional land this turn and you draw a card. We will also use similar ramp spells like Free Visits, a 2 mana sorcery, search a library for a forest card, put it onto the battlefield and then shuffle. Once we have ramped a little bit and brought the Worldseed to the battlefield, we will want to activate its ability over and over again to draw a bunch of cards. The land cards that end up in our graveyard we will also want to replay, which is why we play cards like Crucible of Worlds, a 3 mana artifact, and you may play lands from your graveyard. To also make sure that we never fall behind on our land count, we will play Druid class, a 2 mana enchantment class, and on level 1 it has whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control you gain 1 life. For 3 mana you can level it up to level 2 and then you may play an additional land on each of your turns, which is exactly what we want with this card. To get it to 3rd level it costs 5 mana, and when this class becomes level 3, target land you control becomes a creature with haste, and this creature's power and toughness are each equal to the number of lands you control. It's still a land. To guarantee that we never run out of gas and lands that we can play from our hand, we need to enable even more card draw, which is why we play Sylvan Library, a 2 mana enchantment, and at the beginning of your draw step you may draw 2 additional cards. If you do, choose 2 cards in your hand drawn this turn. For each of those cards, pay for life or put the card on top of your library. To replay even more cards from our graveyard, we play Walk-in Closet, a 3 mana enchantment room, and this room says you may play lands from your graveyard. The other side, Forgotten Cellar, for 5 mana says, when you unlock this door, you may cast spells from your graveyard this turn, and if a card would be put into your graveyard from anywhere this turn, exile it instead. We also play Case of the Locked Hothouse, a 4 mana enchantment case, and you may play an additional land on each of your turns. To solve this case, you control 7 or more lands, and if it's solved, you may look at the top card of your library anytime, and you may play lands and cast creature and enchantment spells from the top of your library. For even more land recursion, we play Conduit of Worlds, a 4 mana artifact, and you may play lands from your graveyard. You can also tap it and choose target non-land permanent card in your graveyard. If you haven't cast a spell this turn, you may cast that card. If you do, you can't cast additional spells this turn, activate only as a sorcery. Due to the fact that we will recur our land drops and also play additional lands, we will win with a bunch of landfall synergistic creatures. For example, Skewed Swarm, a 3 mana 1/1, and whenever a land you control enters, create a 1/1 green insect creature token. If you control 6 or more lands, create a token that's a copy of Skewed Swarm instead. From the same precon we will also play Baloth Prime, a 4 mana 10/10, and this creature enters with 6 stun counters on it. Then, whenever you sacrifice a land, land, create a tapped 4/4 green beast creature token, and you untap this creature. It also has an activated ability: for 4 mana and sacrificing a land, you gain 2 life. We also play Rampaging Bailiffs, a 6 mana 6/6 with trample, and whenever a land you control enters, create a 4/4 green beast creature token. We also go with Omnath, Locus of Rage, a 7 mana 5/5, and whenever a land you control enters, create a 5/5 red and green elemental creature token. It also has another triggered ability, because whenever it or another elemental you control dies, Omnath deals 3 damage to any target. To take out an opponent immediately, we play Mossborn Hydra, a 3 mana 0/0 with trample, and this creature enters with a +1/+1 counter on it. And then, whenever a land you control enters, double the number of +1/+1 counters on this creature. As you have seen, a bunch of our win cons are non-legendary creatures, which is why we also play Springheart Nantuku, a 2 mana 1/1 with Bestow for 2 mana, an enchanted creature gets +1/+1. The relevant thing is its landfall ability, because whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay 2 mana if Springheart Nantuku is attached to a creature you control. If you do, create a token that's a copy of that creature. And if you didn't create a token this way, create a 1/1 green insect creature token. Because our commander is crucial for our game plan, our opponents will try to remove it at some point in the game, which is why we play a bunch of protection spells. For example, Heroic Intervention, a 2 mana instant, permanents you control gain hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. To protect an artifact in Junt colors, we play Defend the Rider, a 1 mana instant, choose 1, target permanent you control gains hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. And it also has an alternative mode: create a 1/1 colorless pilot creature token with this creature settles mounts and cruise vehicles as though its power were 2 greater. Let's redirect those removal spells. We play Untimely Malfunction, a 2 mana instant, choose 1, destroy target artifact, change the target of target spell or ability with a single target, or 1 or 2 target creatures can't block this turn. If Hearthhull is a creature, we can also use Sylvan Safekeeper, a 1 mana 1/1, and you can sacrifice a land so target creature you control gains Shroud until end of turn. We also go with Tamiyo's Safekeeping, a 1 mana instant, target permanent you control gains hexproof and indestructible until end of turn, and you gain 2 life. As creatures are our win condition, and we also have a bunch of them, we also play Lightning Greaves, a 2 mana artifact equipment, and equip creature as Haste and Shroud, and you equip it for 0. You want to win more? You get it. As we have landfall win cons, we play Splendid Reclamation, a 4 mana sorcery, return all land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. If Hearthhull has 8 or more charge counters on it, we can also win with Scapeshift, a 4 mana sorcery, sacrifice any number of lands, search a library for up to that many land cards, put them onto the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle your library. And last but not least, we also play Realms Uncharted, a 3 mana instant, search a library for 4 land cards with different names and reveal them. An opponent chooses 2 of those cards, put the chosen cards into your graveyard and the rest into your hand, and then shuffle your library. This can secure your land drops early on and also get you the lands that you need to have great synergies with your deck. Alright guys, these were a few cards that I would play in Hearthhull, the Worldseed. Let me know which cards you would add to the deck, which legendary creature I should feature next. Make sure to check out my full deck list in the notes below, and then I would say see you in the next one. Goodbye guys.